What's up guys, today's video is all about the tools and equipment that I use myself and that I would recommend you get if you really want to push your baking to the next level. From hand tools and bakeware to small appliances and silicone, everything on this list is something that I view as a necessity. They all have their purposes and benefits to baking and pastry work, and I can't wait to share them with you. With that said, let's get to it. Starting off with the numerous hand tools that I use. So let's start off with the rubber spatula. These are the perfect tools for scraping the insides of bowls, but also for working on the stovetop. The silicone that it's made out of makes it the ideal tool for using to stir caramels and pastry cream without worrying about the handle getting hot and possibly burning you. Next up is the palette knife or metal spatula. There are a few different types. This first one here is flat along the entire length and is really flimsy. I mainly use this one for placing glazed items onto plates, bases, and tart shells because of the ease of sliding the knife out without damaging the glaze because of how flimsy it is. These next two are angled spatulas named after the obvious angle on the blade. The small one is my go-to for fine detail work on icings or for plated desserts. This larger one is perfect for getting smooth, even surfaces on cakes, glazes, and chocolate, as well as icing the sides of cakes. I also use this one for plated desserts. Next up we have knifeware. These are essential components to every kitchen and bake shop. From left to right we have a serrated or bread knife, a chef's knife, and a paring knife. They all have their uses and benefits. This serrated knife has a nice long blade of teeth that save you from having to press down on the product, potentially damaging it. A nice long sawing motion gets through the product with ease, leaving a beautiful straight edge. This length does have a downside though, which is its flimsiness. I would also recommend buying a shorter, thicker knife for smaller uses. Next up is the chef's knife. This is an 8-inch knife from Victorinox. For my purposes, this knife works great for me. It's nice and balanced, and the handle has perfect slots for where my thumb and pointer finger sit, making chopping easy and comfortable. And last but not least, we have the trusty paring knife. You can actually see the torture I've put this knife through over the years. I love this knife. It is my go-to for small, delicate knife work. Next up, we have the microplane and peeler. A peeler is great for, you guessed it, peeling things. From apples to pears to carrots, this tool is a necessity. I love this style of peeler due to the lack of pivoting blade, giving you a much better grip and increasing your confidence while using it. The other styles create opportunities for you to slip and end up cutting yourself, and that's obviously something we want to avoid. And here we have the microplane, also known as the rasper, also known as the zester. This is the perfect tool for zesting lemons, limes, oranges. I've even grated cheese with this in a pinch. What you really want to look for is a rubber or silicone tip. This gives you a spot to place on the table while you're zesting. This is much more comfortable and far more safe than trying to hold the tool up in the air. Next we have scoops. Now you may be thinking, I'm not a cafeteria lady, what do I need these for? Well, you can't underestimate how useful these are for getting consistent sizes. Whether it's cookies or biscuits or cupcakes or muffins, having consistent sizes is super important to having an even bake across your products. These have a super comfortable handle and an easy press lever for quick depositing. All in all, great tools. Next up we have rolling pins. These are obviously essential for rolling out tarts, pies, cookies, crackers, you name it. But they can also be used to shape chocolate decorations and tuiles, a thin cookie-like decoration. I have two different types. First, this beautiful granite pin I received as a gift a few years ago. It's got a lovely weight to it as well as being perfectly cylindrical. This is my go-to tool for doing the final rolls as it allows far more control for distributing weight evenly across the product. I also have a standard rolling pin that I use for doing the first few rolls because the handles make it much easier to apply more weight, decreasing the time it takes to get to the product thin enough to use my other rolling pin. Next we have every baker's best friend, the bench scraper. This tool is perfect for dividing dough into more manageable sizes for bread making, but I mainly use it to clean my bench surface, hence the name bench scraper. Its handle and flat blade make scraping up all the dough, flour, and mess from your surface super quick and easy, making cleanup a breeze. Next up we have the handy dandy whisk. I love these ones because, similar to the spatula, they have heat-proof handles, making whisking caramels and fudges much safer. Not having to worry about the handle heating up and burning you makes one less thing you have to be thinking about. Unlike the typical metal-handled whisks that heat up really quickly, leaving you more susceptible to being burned. If you can find these ones, I strongly recommend them. Next, we have some thermometers. I would consider these to be the most crucial tool to own when working with sugar and chocolate. Exact temperatures really come into play with these two mediums, and having an accurate thermometer is mandatory to achieve excellent results. So first, I have a laser thermometer gun. This tool is perfect for chocolate work, as you can just point and shoot and the display shows the surface temperature. This is great because it saves you having to continually dip a thermometer into the chocolate, cleaning it each time. With this, you can just read the temp and keep going. This other one is a probe thermometer. I use this one for cooking sugar. Some recipes require the sugar to be at a very specific temperature, sometimes taking minutes between degrees. The reason I don't use a laser gun is because that it reads the surface temperature. Because the sugar is clear, it's hard to get an accurate reading. This probe thermometer is great because you can place it in the pot and set it to a specific temperature. Once that temperature has been reached, it plays an alarm that won't go off until it's silenced. This is great because you can be focused on other tasks while the sugar is cooking without having to worry about going over the temp. Now we're moving on to the more mechanical devices, starting with the stand mixer. Although it is possible to make almost every recipe without a mixer, having this machine will make your life 1,000 times better. They come in various makes and models, with some having tilt heads while this one uses a bowl lift. Along with the 3 attachments that they come with, there's a whole list of additional attachments you can purchase, including pasta rollers, ice cream bowls, meat grinders, and so on. Next up, we have the immersion blender or stick blender. This tool, as the name implies, is used as a handheld blender. It is used to emulsify sauces, ganaches, creams, custards, etc. The difference between a properly emulsified product and an improperly mixed one is massive. This tool is super easy to put together and use. Place it inside your mixer, blitz away until completely smooth and homogeneous, twist the shaft off the base, and it's ready for cleanup. Now we have the single most important tool in the kitchen for baking, the scale. The accuracy of weight plays such a vital role in baking that you will just not have consistent quality product if you choose not to use one. I recommend buying a scale that has a maximum capacity of 5 kilograms, or about 11 pounds. This allows you to scale all of your ingredients into one bowl instead of numerous smaller bowls, speeding up efficiency. Now onto the hot stuff, bakeware, specifically baking trays. This one is more up to your personal preference in regards to stainless steel or non-stick, but the important thing is to make sure that your pans are nice and flat. This gives you the best chance for a flat and consistent thickness in your product. The rules for prepping the trays are the same for any size and shape, so whichever you choose that works for you is great. Now this center tray is a little more special. This is a perforated tray, and what makes that special is that it allows air to circulate all around the product, promoting even browning. It also allows air and steam to escape the product, reducing those pesky air bubbles that you can sometimes get in pie and tart shells. While on the discussion of baking, we have some silicone baking mats. These are amazing things that have really come down in price over the past few years. You can pick one up from your local grocery store or supermarket for probably around $20 Canadian. These are essentially a replacement for parchment paper or baking paper. Being made of silicone, they're heat-proof to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, can be placed in the freezer, and are also dishwasher safe. This one on the left is a special type called a sill-pane mat. Similar to the perforated baking tray, this perforated baking mat has lots of tiny holes to allow air through, contributing to even cooking and less of those air bubbles. And last but not least, we have a wire rack. There's only a couple important features you should look for when choosing a rack. First, you don't want the holes to be too big or too small. When you're glazing a cake or mousse, if the gaps are too small, it will prohibit the glaze from properly dripping off of the product, making the end result not clean. Second, you want to choose a rack with large feet underneath it. The higher off the counter or tray, the more air that can circulate around, decreasing cooling time, letting you enjoy your hard work faster. And that's that, guys. That is my list of essential tools and equipment that I believe you need to really take your baking to the next level. But I'd love to hear from you. Are there any that you think I missed? Leave a comment down below. That's all for today, though. Be sure to check back every Sunday and Wednesday for new episodes. I can't wait to get baking with you.